It's a veggie BLT pita! I totally suck at video games, but love to play them anyway.
Aloha! VeggiePeta here with my 2014 video game year in review. What kind of year was 2014 for gamers? Not the greatest if you listen to the internet masses. I can't personally think of any games that came out this year being masterpieces of the craft. Perhaps the exception to that is Shovel Knight, which, while I have not played personally, I've seen enough Let's Plays and reviews to realize it will stay in many a top 10 best list for years to come. But despite there not being a dozen gaming diamonds in 2014, I found myself purchasing more new games than I thought I would in such a console gaming drought. Two minor disclaimers here. I don't play PC games. I don't even have Steam installed on my computer. I am a console gamer through and through, so there will be no mention of games that didn't come out on the major consoles or handhelds. Also, while there were a lot of AAA games that came out in 2014, some good, some not so much, I stayed away from pretty much all of them. It's not because I don't like any of the games, but AAA titles tend to stay in stock longer and are featured in some pretty nice sales down the line. So in 2014, I focused on a lot of niche games. What games, you may ask? Let's take a look. It's obvious the bulk of my purchases were for Sony systems. Nintendo had a great lineup for sure, probably critically the best out of the major consoles, but I have some eclectic tastes, and Sony delivered in 2014. The Vita won my game count, and oh man do I love that system. It is my favorite handheld system of all time, and I really wish more people would jump on the Vita train. Seriously, once you get one in your hands with a game you want to play, you'll be spoiled for other handhelds. But back to the subject. I don't have a PS4, so my PS3 got the second highest game count. The Wii U had a couple I just couldn't pass up, but I share the Wii U, so I don't buy single-player games on that system, which is why Bayonetta 2 is not in my collection. It will be one day, mark my words. I'm actually sad there was only one 3DS game I felt the need to buy brand new, but at least it's a game with Phoenix Wright in it. So now you've seen what I bought, but what made 2014 a good year for me as a gamer? 2014 marked a special occasion for me. I played my very first MMORPG. Okay, so technically Final Fantasy XIV came out in 2013 for the PS3, which is what I played it on, but it came out for PS4 in 2014, so I'm gonna count it for my year in review. I was actually in the original PS3 beta for the game, but only played like an hour and decided it was pretty, but not for me. Then, late 2014, some friends started playing the free trial and tempted me into it. They needed a tank, and I wanted to make a sexy catboy, so it was a win-win. I only played 1 month, but I honestly had a lot of fun. For being a multiplayer game, there was actually quite a lot of single-player content, which was great when my friends weren't on, or when I just wanted to play around in the world itself. I can't see paying $15 every month when I only play sporadically, but I plan to pop on every now and again. Final Fantasy XIV has a nice slow lead-in for MMORPG noobs, which was perfect for me. I recommend giving it a shot if you have any sort of interest in it whatsoever. It changed my mind on the genre, so it gets a thumbs up from me. You know what other unprecedented event happened in 2014? The US got 3 Tales of games. 3! Sure, 2 of them are remakes, but one of those never originally came to the US anyway, so I mark it as a complete win. I make it a point to buy Tales of games right when they come out, even if I won't get to them until years later, in the hope that we'll keep getting them over in the West. And it seems my plan is working. Namco Bandai gets my appreciation in 2014 for all the Tales of love, and maybe I'll beat Grace's F one of these days so I can finally get started on Xillia. Even if 2014 wasn't the best year in gaming, we got a ton of games I never thought would reach US shores. The Danganronpas were originally on PSP, which is dead here, plus it involves high school murders. Akiba's Trip 2 involves beating up and stripping vampires in Akihabara. The last Deception game we got was renamed Trapped and came out on PS2 almost 10 years ago. Mind Zero is a brand new IP for a low-selling system. Freedom Wars is also a new IP for the Vita and relies heavily on multiplayer, for a system that not too many have. Hakuoki is a samurai visual novel aimed at girls that has some pretty dark tones for a romance game. Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright took so long to come out here that I had figured Capcom and Level 5 just couldn't play nice in the US. Hatsune Miku sings in Japanese and runs with the idol craze that Japan loves. Drakengard 3 is a low-budget action game in a series that has received little US support. And Conception 2 is an RPG dating sim where you create star children with girls in your class that you have to romance first. None of these games sound like your typical huge hit, but all of them made it into my gaming collection this year thanks to companies taking a chance on some weird niche titles. They won't sell millions, but they'll make a lot of fans very happy. Now on to the best and worst of 2014. The worst thing in gaming from 2014 is Gamergate. I won't go into it here as the internet has done more than enough to expound upon the issue, but it was the worst thing I can think of as a gamer in 2014. Even worse than Sonic Boom. Here's hoping 2015 can outshine that catastrophe. As for the best? My choice for best game of 2014 is rather subjective, so I'll say my favorite game instead. My favorite game was almost Danganronpa thanks to its crazy characters and Phoenix Wright style gameplay. But there was another game starting with D that simply stole my heart the very moment I read the first article about it on Siliconera. Drakengard 3 wins my favorite game of 2014. It's far from perfect, I'll admit, but there's something magical about the game. The story is a complicated mess that I can't explain without massive spoilers. The camera is rough, the frame rate can drop to single digits at points, and the screen tear is something awful. And yet, the weapon combo system is oddly satisfying. The characters are so bizarre you need to know more. The hints and pokes at previous games in the series are fun to discover, and the whole tone of the game is a mix of gore-filled violence with pops of goofy comedy. It hits all of my happy fun time game buttons. It's not for everyone, but damn is it fun. 2014 is over, but a new year in gaming is just beginning. I'm hoping there will finally be some games that convince me to buy a PS4 in 2015. No, I haven't seen any mentioned yet. The Wii U is still my current gen system of choice, and Nintendo is going to keep rocking it with the adorable looking Yoshi's Woolly World and a new Zelda, though I have my doubts that'll actually come out in 2015. On the 3DS side, there's a large group of us eagerly awaiting Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate taking over our Monday nights with rousing hunting action once more. The Vita's lineup is looking rather sparse, but I'm hoping for some surprise releases. The one Vita game I am excited for is Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters, as it involves the people behind Deadly Premonition and has music from Nobuo Uematsu. For the PS3, and possibly PS4, I'm cautiously looking forward to Silent Hills and Final Fantasy XV, but I still need to see how they play before I'm convinced. Tales of Zestria may make its way to US shelves in 2015, and if it does, then you can bet I will grab it ASAP. However, hands down my most anticipated game of 2015 is Persona 5. I've spent so many hours on Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and one of these years I will get to my copies of Persona 2, both the games, and Persona 1, and I just love Persona, okay? I am making the prediction now that Persona 5 will be my favorite game of 2015, but we will have to wait until my next video game year in review to find out. There you have it! That was the itsavgbltpta 2014 video game year in review! What games did you buy in 2014? And which were your favorite, or least favorite? Which AAA titles from 2014 should I buy first when the sales hit? What games do you want to see from me in 2015? Let me know in the comments, on Twitter, or Facebook. I hope your 2014 was as fun as mine, and I will be seeing you more in 2015! So I found the one and only game so far for Vita that has an instruction manual. Look at this. actual manual. It has like 2 pages, but it's still a manual. So they can do it. People are just being lazy when they don't do it. So thank you Sega and Hatsune Miku Project Diva X2, whatever they're going to call it, for giving me an actual manual.